Today's lesson is called We Flip for Flip-Flops. Hello everyone, my name is Helen.
I am Roger, and today we're going to continue talking about flip-flops. And last time we talked about the fact that we don't really know how they came about, but we have seen pictures of them on murals from ancient Egypt. So I guess the pharaohs used to wear them. And of course, they're now quite popular. And according to our article, you can probably wear them at any occasion.
Right, flip-flops can be worn for the beach or for a wedding, a party. They're made in all different sizes and colors, so they're really easy to mix and match. Now, since flip-flops are largely produced using rubber these days, there are actually some problems associated with flip-flops. And today, we're going to look at what some of these problems are.
Gee, that does not surprise me. It seems like every time we talk about some kind of clothing item, it's probably going to be harmful to the environment at one point. And, of course, flip-flops are no exception. So we'll talk about that in just a second. But, hey, let's get going with our lesson by listening to the first part of our lesson for today.
With the largest flip-flop manufacturer producing as many as 250 million pairs each year, this shoe is incredibly popular. Unfortunately, that popularity comes at a price to both our health and the environment.
大家好，第一部分我们看到的单字 incredibly 这个字是副词，指难以置信的，极其。例如The weather tomorrow will be incredibly cold, so bring lots of warm clothing with you. 明天的天气会变得极冷，所以要多带一点温暖的衣服。另外，补充 incredibly 的形容词 incredible, I-N-C-R-E-D-I-B-L-E, incredible, 指难以置信的、惊人的。我们可以说 The hikers found that it took an incredible effort to climb the steep trail.登山者发现攀爬这个陡峭的小径需要惊人的努力。接着我们看到一个副词 unfortunately 指不幸的、遗憾的……像是 I would like to go to the beach with my friends this weekend, but unfortunately I have to work. 这周末我也想跟我的朋友一起去海边，但很遗憾的我得上班。另外去除这个字的字首 un可以成为它的反义词，指幸运的、幸好。可以说 Although we left the house late, we fortunately arrived at the theater in time for the show. 虽然我们比较晚出门，但很幸运的我们及时抵达剧场赶上表演。
So in the first part of our lesson, we have the sentence, with the largest flip-flop manufacturer producing as many as 250 million pairs each year, this shoe is incredibly popular. So I had no idea that flip-flops were being produced at such an incredibly high amount.
Yeah, it does sound like a very high amount. So yes, because this flip-flop manufacturer produces so many of them, therefore the shoe is incredibly popular. Or because it's so popular, this company or other companies need to produce millions of pairs of flip-flops every year. So, of course, this is quite alarming here. If you're worried about where they go after people wear them out, you probably just send them to the trash, right? I don't think they recycle shoes here in Taiwan so much. I think you're supposed to throw those out with the trash, or you can donate them, I suppose. But I can't imagine people wanting to use used flip-flops. You might get athlete's foot or something.
That's true. So I don't really know how people get rid of used flip-flops, but I'm sure even if there's a way to get rid of them that is not damaging to the environment, a few pairs probably get lost in the transportation and end up in the ocean in places where they're not supposed to be. However, the environment isn't the only thing that is impacted or affected by flip-flop wear. Flip-flops are actually not that great for our feet.
Yes, those are two problems that we'll talk about as our lesson continues. But here it says, unfortunately, that popularity comes at a price to both our health and the environment. So unfortunately, that just means, well, things are good before, but there is a downside here. Unfortunately, there is a price to pay in terms of our own health and the cost to the environment. So yes, it's very convenient, but unfortunately, it's bad for the earth. Unfortunately, again, just means kind of the opposite of the good situation you were talking about before. So the doctor told me, yes, Roger, I have cured your heart problem, but unfortunately, I discovered cancer in your liver and you've only got 1 day to live. Okay, you might hear that from the doctor. Hopefully, you won't. But in any case here, unfortunately, these things are popular, but they come at a cost to the environment.
Right, or I could simply say, unfortunately, I can't make it to the party. So it can be used as a way to get out of things like, unfortunately, I don't have money to give you. Unfortunately, I don't have time. It's a way of saying, I'm sorry, but I just can't.
It can be used quite frequently in everyday conversation. Okay, let's move on now to the next part of our lesson. We will listen to it first.
Doctors don't care for flip-flops because of all the foot problems they cause when worn regularly. Since it's hard to keep flip-flops on your feet while walking, wearers need to grip the shoes with their toes and shorten their stride. These changes can lead to foot pain and joint stress. When it comes to the environment, old flip-flops add to the growing amount of waste in the world's oceans. Most flip-flops only last for about 2 years, and when we throw them out, they often end up at sea. About 90 tons of flip-flops wash up on the shores of East Africa alone every year, killing local plants and animals.
第二部分，我们看到片语 care for somebody or something， 表示喜欢点点点，想要点点点。举例来说 ，Would you care for another slice of apple pie？ 你想要再来一块苹果派吗？另外 care for 除了上面的意思外，可以用来指照顾、照料。我们可以说 Tracy had to stay home from work to care for her sick child. Tracy 不能去上班，她得待在家照顾生病的小孩。接下来我们看到一个动词 grip， 有紧握、抓牢、夹紧的意思。例如 Helen gripped the pole tightly as the train suddenly stopped. 列车戛然而止 Helen 紧紧抓住杆子。另外补充2个与 grip 相关的片语。首先可以用 come to grips with something 来表示认真考虑并着手处理。我们可以说Arthur finally came to grips with his health problems and decided to see a doctor. Arthur 终于认真看待他的健康问题，并决定去看医生。再来 in the grips of 可以指在点点点的控制下，在点点点的影响下。所以我们可以说 The earthquake struck when the city was in the grips of a typhoon. 台风暴风圈笼罩这座城市时，又发生了地震。
Okay, everybody. So flip-flops are incredibly popular, and we know that because we know that 250 million pairs are produced each year. But even though they're comfortable and easy to wear, there are costs to wearing flip-flops, and not only costs in terms of money, because there are health issues and environmental issues associated with them. So doctors, they don't really like flip-flops. They don't care for flip-flops because of all the foot problems they cause when worn regularly.
Exactly. So, of course, if you talk to doctors, especially podiatrists or doctors who specialize in foot problems, well, they don't really like flip-flops. They probably don't recommend their patients to use them. So here we've got the phrase to care for something, which can mean a couple of things. It might mean you care about somebody. Oh, Lisa, I really care for you. I want to marry you and live with you for the rest of my life. But here, care for just means, especially in the negative, that you just don't like something. Yes, thank you for inviting me to the night market to have some chou tofu, but unfortunately, I don't care for chou tofu. I think it stinks.
Right. It basically means I don't like that thing if you say I don't care for that thing or it's not to my taste. Now, why is it that doctors don't care for flip-flops? It's because since it's hard to keep flip-flops on your feet while walking, wearers need to grip the shoes with their toes and shorten their stride. So what happens when you wear flip-flops? Because there's nothing to keep the flip-flops on your feet, you have to use your toes to grip the flip-flop as you are walking. And as you grip the flip-flops, you're not able to take long strides. You have to take shorter strides when you're walking. And evidently, there are problems associated with that. Grip here, of course, means to hold something tightly. I could say make sure you grip the leash so that your dog doesn't run away.
Exactly. Or you need to grip the baseball bat when you bat playing baseball. But of course, yes, I've noticed this too on days when I wear flip-flops or sandals on a rainy day. My goodness, my feet are so tired at the end of the day because I keep having to dig my toes down into the actual sandal, the flip-flop, to keep it on my feet. And that can be bad for your feet. And that's why doctors don't care for flip-flops. That's because people have to use their toes to grip them and to prevent them from falling off. And also, as you said, you need to shorten your stride. Your stride is basically how big your step is when you're walking. Some people have a big stride, like me. I'm 6 feet 2 inches tall, so my stride is fairly long. But people who are shorter than me, of course, will have a shorter stride.
Right. So now why would doctors care if we take shorter strides when we wear flip-flops? It's because these changes to the way we walk when wearing flip-flops can lead to foot pain and joint stress. And that means basically when you wear flip-flops, you can develop pain in your foot and you can also put stress on your joints. Your joints are basically the area in between your bones. So you may not realize this when you're wearing flip-flops, but maybe after a long while of wearing flip-flops, let's say at the end of the summer, you might feel some foot pain.
Okay, so it sounds to me like if you want to wear sandals or flip-flops, you should have something with a strap around the heel there so you don't have to use your toes to grip it and you can have a regular stride. I think Crocs have straps on the back of them, so maybe I'll try those. Who knows? But in any case, doctors don't care for them because of these problems here, foot pain and stress on your joints. And when it comes to the environment, old flip-flops add to the growing amount of waste in the world's oceans. So yes, when it comes to the environment, or if we have to talk about the environmental influence that these things have on the world, well, old flip-flops are a problem, as you might have guessed. They add to the growing amount of waste in the world's oceans. My goodness, when are we going to learn eventually the oceans are just going to be filled up with all our junk?
That's true. And one of the problems is that flip-flops don't last very long, even though they're made of rubber. Of course, rubber lasts longer than straw. The Japanese sandals were made of straw. But actually, if straw breaks down, it's just going to break down. That's not going to ruin the environment. But with rubber, what happens is if the rubber sandals, rubber flip-flops end up in the ocean, it's just going to stay in the ocean and it's going to end up killing life in the ocean.
Right. Whales, dolphins, they swallow that stuff and it's not good. And of course, rubber is non-biodegradable. So of course, it's going to stay in the ocean, as you said, for thousands of years. So yes, most flip-flops only last for about 2 years. And when we throw them out, they often end up at sea or they end up in the ocean. About 90 tons of flip-flops wash up on the shores of East Africa alone every year, killing local plants and animals. Now, we're bringing up the example of East Africa here as just one example of many in the world. So we do have a figure here, about 90 tons of flip-flops wash up on the shores of East Africa. Just there alone. So we're not counting South America or Asia or Europe or North America or Australia. Just Africa there has a lot of flip-flops washing up on the shores. Africa has had enough problems and now they have even more.
Right, and I imagine that Africa has so many flip-flops washing ashore. It's because it's a hot area, a hot climate area, and probably the people there wear a lot of flip-flops.
Or it's because of ocean currents coming from North America or something, and those flip-flops just kind of float over to Africa, and people in America just toss them in the ocean. Well, they probably don't toss them there directly, but, streams and rivers will wash them into the ocean eventually, and they'll eventually end up on the shores of Cameroon or someplace like that. And that's not good. They'll kill local plants and animals. And, of course, that is alarming, and we probably should do something about that. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson. Let's move on now to the next part.
So, what can you do to help? If you can't bear to part with your flip-flops, try buying sturdier pairs that will last longer and be easier on your feet. Also, look for brands that use environmentally friendly materials. Then, there's no need to give up your summer style.
第三部分我们看到一个片语 part with 加名词，用来代表舍弃、放弃，尤其是舍不得、不情愿的情况下被迫放弃。举例来说 I parted with a month's salary to pay the damage deposit on my new apartment. 我不情愿地花了1个月的薪水来支付新公寓的毁损押金。最后我们看到形容词 sturdy 用来指坚固的、结实的，像是 I was afraid to cross the wooden bridge because it didn't look very sturdy. 我对于要穿越这座木桥感到很恐惧，因为它看起来不是非常坚固的。又或者说 Steven's dog isn't the fastest in the world, but it has a very sturdy build. Steven 的狗虽然不是世界上跑最快的，但它的体型相当健壮。
And welcome back, everyone. So we know that flip-flops aren't the greatest thing for our health, for the health of our feet, and they're pretty bad for the environment as well. These shoes can lead to foot pain, joint stress, and old used flip-flops can end up in the oceans and in places where they kill all kinds of animals and plants. So what can we do about this problem? Should we just stop wearing and buying flip-flops altogether?
Yeah, it's a good question. What can you do to help? What contribution can you make? If you can't bear to part with your flip-flops, try buying sturdier pairs that will last longer and be easier on your feet. So, yes, resist the temptation to buy cheap flip-flops at the night market. Maybe try to find some higher quality ones. Yes, they'll be more expensive, but they'll last longer and they'll be sturdier. And here, sturdier is from the adjective sturdy, which means kind of difficult to break down. It's well built and it will last for a long time. You want to have a sturdy house in Taiwan so it won't get blown down by a typhoon.
Right. So aside from buying sturdy flip-flops, not cheap ones or ones that easily break down, you could also look for brands of flip-flops that use environmentally friendly materials. So environmentally here is, of course, the adverb form of environmental, something that affects the environment in a way or that is related to the environment. For instance, I could say these chemicals are environmentally damaging, which means they damage the environment. So another good way of avoiding the problems, the environmental problems associated with wearing flip-flops is to look for those brands that make flip-flops with materials that don't damage the environment.
Exactly. So you want to find ones that are environmentally friendly, or 环保, as you say in Chinese. Is it environmentally friendly? Yes. It can break down and rejoin the ecosystem without a lot of pollution. So yes, try to find some that use environmentally friendly materials. Maybe like those Zori from Japan. Seems like Japan always does the right thing in terms of being environmentally friendly, with the exception of that nuclear power plant. But in any case here, there's no need to give up your summer style if you buy flip-flops that are environmentally friendly.
That's right. So if you do the right thing and you think about the environment and think about your own health when you make purchases, in this case, when you buy flip-flops, then you don't have to give up that thing. You just have to do it in a smarter way.
Right. So, of course, we all want to enjoy the summer like we always have. Hey, you can't take that away from me. I want to wear my flip-flops during the summer. That is my right. I'm not going to change. But, well, there's a way to change your behavior a little bit and be friendly to the environment. So you don't need to give up your summer style and start to wear socks and shoes because that can be quite hot during the summer. And, of course, for me, sometimes I like to wear flip-flops not only to ride a motorcycle in the rain so my shoes don't get wet, but because that way I don't have to wear socks, and that reduces the amount of laundry I need to do, and that, of course, will save on water.
Right, and I like to wear flip-flops at home because I just find them to be more comfortable than regular slippers. I don't like slippers because actually I find slippers to be more difficult to grip with my toes than flip-flops.
Yeah, it is quite exhausting, actually. So, yes, this is some good advice for us to follow if we want to be friendly to the environment and use flip-flops so that they do not damage the environment. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. It's time now to listen to our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文一开始提到夹脚拖这种鞋子非常受欢迎，那它用到一个补充单字叫做 incredibly， 这是一个副词，是用来表达难以置信的或者是极其非常怎么样。它的形容词是 incredible， I-N-C-R-E-D-I-B-L-E。 好，我们来学习它的字根。C-R-E-D 这个字根呢，它是指信任或是相信。像 credit 这个名词，它就有信誉、信用的意思，所以应该不难看出这个 C-R-E-D cred 可以用来表达说信任啊、相信的意思。好，那么字尾 I-B-L-E 它就跟 A-B-L-E 一样，可以用来表达可怎么样、能怎么样的，所以合在一起 credible 就是可靠的、可信的或者是真实的。好，那接着我们就在 credible 的前面来加上否定的字首 in， 就会组合成 incredible， 那就是难以置信的、不可思议的。好， incredible 也可以用来表达极好的、很棒的。我们就顺便补充一组有相同字根的单字哦。这一组单字叫做 credulous 跟 incredulous。好，我们刚刚说 C-R-E-D 它有信任、相信的意思，在后面加上 U-L-O-U-S， 这是形容词字尾，表达倾向于怎么样、习惯于怎么样。好，如果你总是习惯相信别人、倾向于相信别人，这样可能就比较容易受骗嘛。所以 credulous 它是用来表达轻易相信的、容易受骗的。我们在 credulous 前面加上否定字首 in， 变成 incredulous， 那就表示不轻信的、怀疑的或是疑心重的。好，夹脚拖呢，其实会造成足部问题，也会造成环境负担。课文最后建议我们说，要选择比较坚固的鞋款，以及使用环保材质的品牌。他说 Then there's no need to give up your summer style。 这样一来，你就不用放弃你的夏日风格了。这边要介绍的句型是 There's no need to 加上原形动词，表示没必要做某事，不需要做某事。其中的 need 在这边当名词，它是指需要或是必要。那我们可以在不定词的前面加上 for somebody， 也就是说某人没有必要做某事。例如There's no need for you to worry about the bill. My brother is paying for the meal. 你不用担心账单的事，我哥会请客啦。好，另外 there's no need 后面也可以接 for 加名词，像是 There's no need for more chairs. 没有必要再多拿椅子了。顺便补充两个句型，一个是It's not necessary to 加原形动词，这也可以用来表达没有必要做某事。 像是 It's not necessary to make another bowl of salad. We have plenty of food already. 没有必要再多做一碗沙拉，我们的食物已经够多了。好，第二个句型叫做 There's no point in 加上动词 ing， 这是用来表达某事是没有用的，是没有意义的，像是 There's no point in crying over spilled milk. 打翻牛奶哭是没有用的。好，这句话就相当于中文的覆水难收，事情已经无法挽回了，不用去沮丧了。好，以上是今天的重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Unfortunately. Unfortunately, I missed an important phone call because I was in a meeting. Grip. Brendan gripped the rope tightly as he climbed up it. Stride. The length of someone's stride partly depends on how long their legs are. Sturdy. A sturdy backpack should last you for years, even if you use it every day. Environmentally. This report suggests that the construction project would be environmentally damaging.
Discussion starter starts now.
Okay, let's go with our discussion starter for today. Here's the question. Based on the information in the article, do you think people should stop wearing flip-flops?
Well, I think that as long as people keep in mind that there are environmentally friendly materials that are used for making flip-flops, I don't think people need to give up buying flip-flops.
Yeah, flip-flops are like anything else. They're either good or bad for the environment. So I think people should be aware of the kinds of flip-flops that they wear. Make sure that they are made of environmentally friendly materials. And I guess somehow don't let them get thrown in the ocean somehow. I guess maybe keep them at home and have a pile of them in the corner and make some kind of unique form of sculpture out of them. Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I'm Helen.
See you next time.